Well, first things first, I must welcome everyone and thank you guys all for joining us tonight. Welcome to the entrepreneurial gathering. This is, of course, the second edition of it. I hope you guys will all have a great time today as you will greatly feel inspired and motivated to do better and be better in your businesses as well. Right, first things first, we'll be asking Djan, who's the founder of Emerge Africa. Shortly after Uyandita has told us why we are here today, Umonashe will also follow it to tell us more about the Cape Town Business Workshop. And then Sido, you will follow right after Umonashe. Just tell us more about SCORE and the fact that you guys are, of course, our proud sponsors today. Thank you so much for that. Yandisa, it's over to you.
Hi guys, my name is Jan. For those of you who do not know me, I am the founder of Emerge Africa, which is really a media and education company that really seeks to rewrite the African story. And part of that really includes entrepreneurship because I believe that that industry is one of the industries that are most important in our country or in terms of our development as a continent. And really, I am just here to support that and I'm here to advocate for that. And I'm here as an entrepreneur myself. So I'm super excited to be here today. And really the reason or the purpose why we started these events, because we saw the need that there is a great need for us to connect with one another as entrepreneurs. And so really the idea is for us to share, to get a space where we can share resources, ideas, innovation with each other, and where we can all walk away inspired because we have all of these big dreams and ideas of how we want to change the world, right? And how we want to change our countries. And we really need inspiration, support, and encouragement from one another because we cannot walk this journey alone. It's not an easy journey to be an entrepreneur. And so we need each other and we need each other's support. So that's why we are gathered here today. As young as we are, we have all that we need in order to make our impact and our mark in the world. So the fact that we are young is really not a disadvantage, but in fact, it's an advantage for us. And so, yeah, that's why we're gathered here today to learn from one another and to be inspired by each other. So, yeah, over to you, Munashe.
Awesome. I think Yandisa summed it up really, really well. Sometimes we really don't need funding to get things going. Sometimes all we need is just each other. So yeah, welcome to our networking session. We're really looking forward to connecting with all of you. So I am Nasha Digiti. I am the founder of Cape Town Business Workshop. It's basically a platform that aims to provide entrepreneurs with tools as well as things like networking sessions and workshops that will help you guys or all of you to basically develop your business ideas and further your businesses into the stages that you hope and wish for it to reach. So that's basically what we're about. We're super excited for the evening. Yeah, and over to you, Sidwell. Excited to hear from you.
Awesome. Thanks for the awesome session, and thanks for everyone who's joining us. And I would like to give thanks to Chill Bev. SCORE is one of their brands, and they decided to partner with us. I don't work for SCORE personally, but obviously they do believe in what we're trying to achieve, and they believe in partnering with young minds like ourselves to make things like this possible, and sort of allowing us to play in the space and ensure that SCORE is growing as a brand in different sectors in South Africa. So thanks to them, and it's a great privilege for them to be a part of this.
All right, thank you so much, Yandi, Sam, Munasha, as well as you, Sidwell. Thank you so much for sharing this business that you guys are into and what you guys do. And thank you so much for this amazing initiative. This is truly going to help a lot of people, and it will boost a lot of people's confidence as far as business and entrepreneurial is concerned. So a few questions I would like to pose to the audience. Of course, I do believe that the majority of the people here are also entrepreneurs. So I'm going to ask you guys maybe 4 questions, everyone, the same question, and then you guys will just answer that question, and then the next person will answer the question, and so forth. So the first question I'd like to ask all the entrepreneurs here is that what business are you guys running, and how did you know when you had the right idea? So we'll ask those two first questions, and then after everyone has answered, I'll move on to another two questions so that we get the show running to get to Elijah, who is, of course, our guest speaker. So the first question is, what businesses are you guys doing, and how did you know you had the right idea as far as entrepreneurial is concerned? Anyone can go first. Anyone can go first. So please don't be shy.
Cool. Cool. Let me go for it. So I'm Sidwell Jacob. I'm turning 30 in less than a month. Super excited for that. So I'm an entrepreneur. I was born into a family that believes in business and sort of embracing the entrepreneurship spirit. Currently, I've been working in the liquor industry. My parents originally started a few liquor outlets, and I jumped onto that. I work with different brands. I've got 3 startups that I'm involved in, and I'm a brand builder, sort of a person who's sort of hungry for knowledge at the same time and wanting to have a footprint in the business world and sort of help others and grow South Africa and just make it a wonderful place to be in and to work in. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Thank you, Sidwell. That's nice. I actually didn't know that thing's called brand strategist, or rather brand
Golden.
builders. So that's new for me as well. Is there anybody who would like to go after Sidwell? Just to share about the kind of business you do, and of course, maybe like how did you know that you had a great business plan, and maybe you should pursue the kind of business that you're doing. Or I can also go. I am a part of Emerge Africa. I do communications these days, and I never thought that I had a bone of entrepreneurial in my body, because I'm more of a person who likes routine. So it was new to me, and I knew that Uyandisa had something great, and I believed in what she stood for in her business. So I thought, you know what? I love to talk. I love communicating with people, but most importantly, I love to learn. So why not just be a part of this and see where it leads? And can I just say, it's been a good, I think 3 months or 2 months now, and I'm having the time of my life. I'm learning so much about the business world because I'm a person that studied media. So business is not something I'm very familiar with. So to be a part of a company like Emerge Africa has greatly opened doors for me, and it has also motivated me into becoming the better version of myself at all times. So I'm forever grateful for that opportunity, and I hope to grow one day and become the best person I can be in this space. So that's me, and how I also got to be in a room full of such talented people and such amazing people who are, of course, entrepreneurs. So is there anybody else who would like to share their story, what they do in their business, and of course, like how they knew that what they're doing is great? Because sometimes we tend to start businesses and then we're not really sure about this. So what really confirms it for you that this business idea is something that you should pursue, and maybe it's a success already, or you are having a few glitches here and there as far as maybe funding is concerned and so forth. So I just want you to just tell us more about your business and also introduce it to us.
So I'm 40 not next month, in October. I'm turning 40. So I currently, my business is not running as yet, like it's not registered, but I am starting to work on certain things to pilot. So my idea is to have a mentoring, training, and coaching practice. Yeah, so how I knew is, well, 5 years ago, I resigned from corporate. I was in the procurement field as a consultant, and I just went on a journey. My dad had passed away a few years ago, and I went on a journey where I wanted to find what is my passion and what is my purpose. because I knew one day I'm going to die, but I wasn't fulfilled, so I just decided I'm going to leave this. I had no plan. I'm such a planner. I had no plan. I had nothing. But one of the things that I remember thinking was, I want to have three sources of income. How it's going to happen, I don't know, but I'm going to do it. Fast forward 5 years later, it's been a journey of self development. I'm constantly learning. I've been very fortunate to have people in my circles, but even where I go, where it's directly linked to what it is that I want to ultimately do. So currently, I've got a mentor who, in a way, I could say I'm an entrepreneur. I'm working with her in her business. She's a business coach. She's a trainer. She's a facilitator. She's exactly what I want to do. Going forward. So I'm learning from her while I'm working on starting my own thing at the moment. And without I'm doing business courses. I'm doing a few things. I've got a BCom in marketing management, but I am doing the training program, so that these are the programs that I want to do when I mentor and I do training. How I knew, a lot of people come to me for help, and I've realized what my strengths are, and I've started sometimes to say I'm going to charge people for certain things. So I spend a lot of time helping people, and the moment I discovered that this is a skill that I have, and you can actually charge people for it. So that's how I discovered. But it's been a journey to actually discover my strengths, and that has value for other people, so that can give me monetary gain.
I think another thing that I'm taking from what you're saying, Kunze, is that it's important to have faith. Sometimes we don't know what would be the end goal, but the important thing is that we start. You started, and age is nothing but a number. So Kunze is proof of that. That
No,
you can
like, yeah,
start a business at any age. It's never too
yeah,
late to follow your dreams and your passion. Thank you so much, Kunze, for
true.
sharing. Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing.
you.
Maybe someone here is also listening and they work at a corporate company that they're not happy about because they know their true talent lies with being their own boss, but they're not really sure how they can do that or if it's going to be something that will generate income for them. So it truly is, her Khonsa's story is truly an inspiration in the sense that you can start at any age. You can never be too late or too early to start following your dreams. Is there anybody else who would like to share after Khonsa as well? I think Lundu was ready to share as well. Can I just have maybe two more people that would like to share their stories as well? All right, here's Lundu. Hello, Lundu. Welcome.
All right.
And
Okay.
thank you.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you, Spencer. Yeah, thank you. I only found out about this probably 5 minutes ago from Elijah's post. Cause, yeah, but so yeah, I am an entrepreneur as well. Been an entrepreneur for quite a while. I started I think my entrepreneurial journey probably formally started while I was at Wits. I started a program training entrepreneurs, essentially, basically on how to register their businesses and that kind of thing. It's basically entrepreneurial consultancy, which was eventually adopted by the university. And then I then moved on to doing a lot of similar programs when I moved to Cape Town. And currently, what I'm doing is legal consulting for businesses, and I'm building a legal tech startup that basically simplifies legal concepts for people in small businesses and in startups. So I've been doing a lot of legal consulting to small sized businesses, and then now I want to build a platform that incorporates software and artificial intelligence to make the processes easier. So for me, where I kind of discover that this is something that I want to do is because I always love solving problems, and I think solving problems and working with people, and I think entrepreneurship sort of came along there because I always kept asking questions, and I think within organizations you don't usually have the scope to go as far as you can with the questions, and yeah.
That's how your journey started as well. That's nice to do. That's very nice. Is there anybody else who'd also like to share, just one more person, who they are in their business, what they do, and how they knew that their business idea was actually the great thing to do? And I think I'm noticing a pattern here. Everyone is so self-aware in terms of their strengths, and weaknesses. And I think that is also important when you start a business, that you know what you're good at, and you know when you know you're good at something, the passion just comes for you to strive and do better and be better at all times as well. Is there anybody else would also like to share and tell us more about their
Hi
experience as
guys.
well? I'm not sure if you are. Oh yes, hi Magazi, thank you so much.
Hi.
Yes.
My name is Makazi Wetako, based in Port Elizabeth, the windiest, most beautiful city. I'm sure we can all attest to that. And also, I'm not saying a real age, but I'm in my mid 20s because I feel like everyone's saying their age now, and I feel so insecure with that.
A lady never tells her age, Magazi. I see you there because I also dodged that that point.
Yeah, I never tell my age. So I'm in my mid 20s. And at the moment, my business is not registered. However, I do feel I need to say that it has started, however, because I'd like to call it, it's an umbrella. It's more like an umbrella. It's, you know what an umbrella is? It's got a small business ideas underneath it. I'm selling clothing. One day I do want to own my own uh, clothing line. I do want to have beauty skincare products under me, and gin is of course in that list, and vodka as well. I've started selling wine so far, and water. Liquids are my kind of thing. So I feel like Sibyl and I are gonna be in the same thingy, man. And then
You know, you see now. Yes, yes.
so basically, I just know that me being in the media space is totally going to help me with a lot of things because I feel I have the strength to actually push this through whenever I can. I just know that I've got this thing cover. So yeah, basically that's what I do.
That's nice, Magazi. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm not sure if there's anybody else who'd like to share, just one more person, so that we can get to the business and the order of the day. I'm very excited to introduce our guest. So, is there anybody else who'd like to share
Let me
their
jump
story?
in.
Please do Oh, yes, I see you, viewer. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Let me jump in. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me. My name is Pugushe Kyacha. Uh, to answer you guys, my story is a bit different, hey, because I never knew that I'd be actually doing this kind of business. So in a way, it just fell in my lap. So just a brief summary. I don't want to take your time and tell you guys everything, but just a brief summary. Last year, July, uh, my dad's sister passed away. And then the second weekend of July, my mother passed away. The third weekend of July, my dad's sister passed away. The fourth weekend of July, my dad's sister passed away. So for someone who has never, okay, not really never experienced a grief and all these other things that come along with it, but 2017 partner Yam also passed away, so I think I've had my fair share of grief. In that process, I was going through grief, depression, frustration, anger, confusion, and all these other things that are caused by losing a loved one. So I resorted, like any other person of age year too. We would
Mm,
resort to drugs, would resort to doing things just to help us cope. A few months later, I saw that, okay, I thought, like, look, let me try one more strategy in dealing with this. Something that would help me because I don't want to, at the end of the day, I don't want to self destruct. In that process, I saw that in our society at large, social media, our everyday life,
mm,
people aren't really having conversations with that deal with grief, depression,
yeah.
frustration, and all these things. So I
Mm,
wanted to create a platform. I wanted to create a platform that would allow myself and any other person who's went through this to
mm,
where we have podcasts and all these things. But I thought, look, let me just register um, a foundation first. Let me register a foundation, and then so that I know, look, when I talk about this, people know what I'm talking about. I have a
yes.
company and all these things.
Mm,
In that process, I wrote a status on Facebook. Someone commented on my inbox and said, look, Puti, my mother passed away. The next day, I got raped. So now I knew that, look, I'm probing people to talk about their problems. So I needed to have like what do you call it, like a foundation of psychologists, social workers, doctors, pastors, and etc. These people that deal with pain, that can help you mentally and all these and all other in all the other avenues. um, so I had to locate a department. I'm from PE, by the way. I'm from Lali Foundation. So I had to ask a couple of friends whom are professors, doctors, and so forth to help me out in this. That's allowing me to create this foundation called the Lali Foundation. Now we do two things. One, the first thing that we do, we show each and every person who's went through this that they are not alone, because this thing is part of our everyday life. People die every day. So people uh, have grief every day. So, and we deal ngendlela ngendlela nalento. So, our role is to show people that, like, look, you're not alone. That's the first. Secondly, those who haven't went through this, what we do for them is show them, look, when you go through this, this is where you need to go, like a safe haven, if I may call it. So, in a nutshell, that's what we do. That's what inspired me to create this foundation, just to open up platforms. I mean, we are in talks with some TV company that will run a documentary on this, because this thing is a very sensitive topic. It's for everyone: doctors, politicians, celebrities, mama, J, Ipara. Everyone is experiencing this, and there is no platform that is there for us to just talk about this. Even if you check with social media or TV, people are talking about love. People are just want to be successful. People want money. People want to be leaders. But no one is talking about this. So this is a foundation I created to open up a space for everyone who's went through grief, depression, frustration, and everyone who will go through these things. So yeah, in a nutshell, thank you very much. I'm reading the comments. In a nutshell, that's what we do as Lali Foundation. I'm from PE. I don't want to reveal my age, but I'm very young.
I think when pure, I think for me personally, I think all of us here can relate to pain and grief. We've all experienced it, and it didn't even, maybe for some of us, come in the form of COVID-19, but we've got pains and we've got things that we haven't truly tapped into the pain and actually just try and finding healing solutions. And we've got things that we don't talk about, that we don't even know we need healing from. So, and I think depression has become something that people just go through on a daily basis. It doesn't care who you are, what you have, what you don't have, where you're from, but it always locates you. So sometimes grief doesn't only come in the sense of losing someone, but it's also about losing yourself as
Look,
well. So to know that there's a place like Life Foundation is
I
it's
don't, I don't
amazing.
want, I don't want to
It's
steal, I don't
amazing.
want to steal your time and eat and talk about this. But the reason for that, abantu bengafuni ukuthetha about their problems, is because society has stigmatized how it is wrong now to feel that you need help. So I feel like entirely the whole Black nation, we need help. We need help. That's not the platform for this. If you, yeah, we'll talk as Ixesha lihamba,
Next
where we
time,
exchange
please. Next time.
numbers and all that. I don't want to take Ishine and all that.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. Sorry about that. Right. Thank you, Pure, for sharing that. That really did, I think, resonate with a lot of people, because, I mean, we all go through grief, we all go through pain, and it's something that we're still going to go through, because, I mean, I think we are also on our way, we're well on our way now to the third wave. So to be prepared emotionally, I think that's the best gift anyone can get for themselves, to be prepared emotionally. I'm very excited to introduce to you our next guest speaker, who is, of course, the amazing. I'm not going to say the name just as yet. So I'm very excited about this journey, and I hope that everyone is going to take something from his experience and his journey as an entrepreneur. And of course, our guest speaker is, of course, from a town called Pretoria. It's not even a town, it's a city, Pretoria. And he is, of course, holding a Bachelor of Engineering in Industrial Engineering and honors in Industrial Engineering. He was accepted as an Alan Gray Fellow In 2020, he came first place in the Green Cape FNF Greenpeace Challenge in 2019. Currently, he is a project team leader at Fed Group in the Industrial Engineering Department, and he's the founder of Nubrix, a company that uses waste paper to make building bricks, and a clothing brand co-founder called Djan, as well as co-founder of Findamentals. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our guest speaker, the phenomenal Elijah Djan.
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction. I'm honored and humbled. I'm still working to that phenomenality. I'm not yet there, but we'll get there. Yeah, thanks a lot for this. I appreciate it.
You're well on your way.
Appreciate this. So I'm just gonna do a quick presentation. I'm gonna rush through it because usually when I attend these, I always get bored. I'm like, bro, get to the point so we can ask you the real questions, because they usually tend to just go on tangents that don't relate to you. So I'll just do this briefly so that there is some sort of context, and then I really want us to engage in conversation, Q&A, just really trying to help each other out, because it's a networking kind of event. So there's no networking happening if I'm just sitting here presenting. Cool. Yeah. So I believe this thing is sharing. Sweet. So essentially, Findamentals is a startup I started with the co-founder late last year. What we're aiming to do is to build a universe of financially literate individuals. So we want everyone on Earth and everyone in the universe, including aliens, to be financially literate. We want them to understand how to use money, how to budget, and the likes. That's our big, hairy, audacious goal. So I'm the co-founder. Elijah, my co-founder, is Djan. We're both industrial engineers. I just have a passion for finance, investing. In my second year, I started a Stockville where me and mates and I, a couple of mates of ours, just put $150 together and started investing in 2-unit trusts, just trying to empower that habit of saving. And all the guys after that year were like, yo, Elijah, if it wasn't for this, there's no ways I would have saved the 150. At the end of that year, I think it was about $1,000 that we made. I'm like, yo, thanks for the... So we did that training thing. And since then, I've always had that need to really empower peeps from a financial literacy kind of perspective. What triggered it the most was one day when one of my mates in Raise, I was in Raise, and we were in second year, and I had started reading about investing from about matric year. And he came to me, and he knew that I knew about investing. He came to me like, Elijah, look, there's a statement I got, an investment statement. What does it mean? And his parents had put 30 grand in that investment thing, and he didn't understand nothing about it. He didn't know what the costs were, what the cash was in was. But his parents understood generational wealth, and they started that process for him. And I think in our community as black individuals, that isn't there. And that's what triggered me mostly, to really just try and, in my circle, how I can, just try and impart that kind of knowledge from what I knew. So where did Findamentals start? So my co-founder and I did our honors year last year. We were also working full-time at that time. That wasn't too intense for us, so we decided to enter a business competition because we're like, we have free time, honors, and full-time work isn't too much. And there was a competition on our portal where they were looking for ideas that COVID worsened. And my co-founder had people who were, she had experience with guys who came and were borrowing from her. I experienced of people who were also borrowing from me in that time of COVID because they had lost their jobs, or there was news about individuals who lost their jobs getting more and more loans. So we could knuckle down and realize that this is happening because people are not financially literate, people are not saving for rainy days, people are not having emergency funds and the likes. So we entered that idea into this competition. We went through the whole process. It was just a basic digital incubator, and towards the end, we pitched one of the submissions was a pitch. So we pitched it to my co-founder's manager, Djan. So my co-founder is Djan. Pitched it to a manager, and the manager's like, if you guys win this competition, let me know, and then maybe we can run a pilot project here. So a couple months they announced, yeah, you guys won. We're like, yo man, we won. He's like, okay, cool. When do you guys want to start? And that's how we got our first client. So from there, we did a pilot project with 57 guys. Really created a workbook around the basics of financial literacy, which is budgeting, saving, staying safe, the effects of debt and effects of insurance, and what are the basic components of investing. What do you need to look out when you're investing? and just understanding the basics around that. So we've got the workshops, we've got the workbooks. Did this with 57 guys last year, and we're just working on getting more and more clients this year. But as an entrepreneur, for a business to be sustainable, it needs to be scalable. So we can't stick with the workbooks and the workshops, because that means it's only the two of us, and only when we can be there is when we can make money. So essentially now we're moving to a point where we want to digitize our whole curriculum into using a learning management system. But beyond that, we want to go into creating an app that almost assists everyone, no matter who you are, wherever you are, in a very easy manner to understand the different basics. So we're just busy building that right now. So this is the learning platform we started building. We're just still developing that, still in development stage. So the key lessons from the journey, specifically with Findamentals, I know they introduced me as a co-founder of another startup. So New Bricks we're still working on. Bronze, my mates and I dissolved that because ended up going our separate ways, and full-time gigs were taking a toll on the other co-founders. So essentially for me, the big lesson is your team when you're building a startup is that making sure that, like they mentioned, making sure that you are doing something that you enjoy, and that whoever's joining you also enjoys what they're working on, and that your skills complement each other. That what you're not good at, the other person is good at that. A big thing around vision, one of my previous startups, Taraka Black, was actually a clothing brand, where I was under the impression that we were creating an African brand. We're three guys, and the other guy was under the impression that we creating the clothing brand to raise funds so that we can build an app such as Superbalist. And the other guy was like, yeah, we're building an African brand, but I want us to import the stuff from China. Well, that defeats the cause. So our visions were clashing, and we couldn't really work well together. So it's always key to make sure that before you even start the business, before you get it formally registered, make sure that everyone's on the same place with the vision. Because if vision is not the same, folks tend up separating and pushing their own agendas, and the business kind of folds. And learning. So in terms of learning, I think the key thing as entrepreneurs, being hungry, because you're always learning something new that can take and change your business. So for me personally, specifically with New Bricks, I was very intentional about going out there, pitching, although it's a cool new idea and someone might steal it. But if I'm not putting myself out there as the second step, I will never get feedback about the idea, and I'll only be stuck with what I know, and I wouldn't know what I don't know. So you need people to be able to interrogate your idea, to interrogate who you are, to interrogate what you're saying. And from there, you're learning. It's free consulting. You don't have to go pay a consulting company to now come and check your stuff out. Spit your idea, let people hear, let the judges ask you the difficult questions. And from there, you go back, you work on it, come back again. And then always try and get your first customer. That's what's been our biggest success for Findamentals. By just getting that first pilot project, a lot of people in one of the previous pitching competitions as well for Findamentals, because we had our first customer, we've been able to validate that this is a real problem. And that's the essence of a paying customer, of someone who pays. It means that what you're trying to solve is real. And that's the aim behind that. I think the biggest three challenges that I've had with Findamentals specifically, or even just entrepreneurs, is family and friends. I come from a black family. Entrepreneurship is not a generational thing. We are the first guys who are trying to jump into that entrepreneurial thing. So me and my dad in the early days, had a very rough relationship, because I was always entrepreneurial, and I felt like who I am is my business. And because my dad was like focused on school, not the business, I felt like he didn't care about me, because I had identified myself as that, but only after sitting and being introspective and realizing where he was coming from, was able to realize, okay, cool, no, he has a valid point. I need to finish this degree. It'll open up doors. Then from there, I can push this thing. So only after realizing that did we start connecting well. And I remember it was 2 years last year after I graduated. It was like, yeah, cool, bro. That business idea, how's it going? I was like, what? You never talked to me about this. What's going on? You know what I mean? So it's just really just understanding where your friends and family are coming from about your entrepreneurial journey, but also understanding that not everyone around you is an entrepreneur. So guys are going to think differently. Guys are going to be happy with their 9 to 5. And you have to be happy for them that they are happy with their 9 to 5. That's also something I'd struggle for a while, because I'm like, I'm ambitious. Why would anyone want to stick in a 9 to 5? Why would anyone just want to come home and go back? We have 24 hours in the day. Let's work. So yeah, just be cognizant about that. Be humble and really just understand your relations around you. Corporate versus full time. I worked last year for Fit Group. earlier this year, I resigned just to push New Breaks as well as Findamentals full time because there was a clash in terms of time. And yeah, and if you do that, make sure you save a lot. So I was very intentional last year in really just putting a lot of cash away so that when I do resign this year, I'll have some sort of a safety net. And yeah, entrepreneurship is all about sacrifices. You're really gonna be sacrificing time, sacrificing even the whole family and friends thing. That's going to be a sacrifice at one stage because people may not understand what you're doing, why you're doing what you're doing, and they may walk or stay behind as you move into a new course of life. And since it's a networking thing, my call to arms is, so once we start building our tech, or we want to start digitizing our platform, we're looking for developers. So if there are any guys who develop here and are keen to really just consult to join the team, we'd be keen to start a conversation there. And because our workshop is focused on blue-collar employees, so if there's anyone here who knows anyone in the HR of any manufacturing company or the likes of any blue-collar employers, we'd be keen for an introduction there, as well as bursaries, because we're trying to the next round is going into the student market in terms of digitization, because students understand the digital manner very well. And yeah, I'm really open to help out in any way, in any manner. Pitching is, I think, my biggest skill set when it comes to entrepreneurship. Been pitching for a while. So if anyone needs someone to look over their pitch deck or just any quick advice around that, I'm keen. Text me, message me. I'm keen. And yeah, just really chat and just share the journey. And yeah, that's it from me. Let's engage. Any questions, I'll be keen. I think just once, if you ask a question, just your name, the startup you're working on, or if you're not working on a startup, what idea would you want to work on? And then your question, so that we can really get that networking thing going. Thanks, guys. That's me. Hope I wasn't too quick.
No, you weren't at all. Thank you so much, Elijah, for sharing your journey as well. 'Cause now you're mentioning things that I'm also thinking to myself, actually, maybe I have a little low confidence as far as how far I can push, as far as also becoming the next great communications lead, because I love that. I love communicating, and I'm very much aware of the fact that that is my strong point. So now you're mentioning tips for me as well, and I'm just sitting here writing, and I'm like, yeah, I need to be serious about myself. So thank you so much for sharing that as well. Guys, if there are any questions, please, entrepreneurs, feel free to ask your questions. As Elijah has said, please just state what you are doing, your business, and how you would like to like ask for assistance from him. So if anyone with any questions, please go ahead. The platform is all yours. Let me tell you something. Opportunities like this come once, maybe in a month. So ask all your questions, because chances are you have something that you'd like to share. Maybe that's a challenge in your company, and then he can help us, or somebody else who's here could also assist you. So I see Khunzi has her hand up. Do you have a question, Khunzi? It's over to you.
Yes, thank you. I don't know if it's more a question or what are the things I'm very interested in getting to know about the program. So I part of my program, one of the things that I want to put in is actually financial literacy. So I haven't been in my research trying to find like Black people who are doing this space. So I'm quite excited. So I've sent you a LinkedIn connection. We can just chat after this. But I wanted to find out what are the things that you saw maybe when you're developing this that were maybe triggers for you. So I come, you go to school, you learn, I've got a BCom degree, but I've realized that I actually don't know financial literacy. So, and I cannot be a trainer. I've decided that I started a 6 weeks course yesterday on personal finances. So, what is it that you saw, that was maybe parallel to what are the things that you've experienced in your life experience to what you incorporated in your courses?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was that financial literacy exists. There's Finlit, Twitter, there's YouTube, there's books. I've read a couple of them. But the thing about it is that financial literacy is not just theory, but the practice. It's all good to know I need to budget. I need to have a savings plan. I need to have an emergency fund. But if we're not doing it, nothing's going to happen. And I think that's our biggest selling point, our biggest focal point, is the practicality of your personal finance journey. beyond that, another thing is that there's so much information out there. I remember when I started investing and wanted to start investing, and you search unit trust, there are over 200 unit trusts here in South Africa. So if you're new to it, where do you start? And that sometimes always puts people off. Like a lot of times when my mates will ask, Elijah, what should I invest in? What should we check out? I'm like, yeah, just here, check this out. And they go and it's like, yeah, there's too many options there. So I actually at one stage, before easy equities was a big thing, I wanted to create something like easy equities where you can get what you want to invest simply and easily without actually having to understand what's happening, but just putting money away. Because that's the biggest thing about building wealth. If you just start early and start with something small, compound interest will do the rest for you. But people always want to research first, and you're killing the compound effect in the time base. So I think to answer your question shortly is the practicality side of financial literacy is what was a big trigger for me to really just push this on, that it's there, but it's not very practical, it's not very hands-on, it's not very simple.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Khusha, for your question. Is there anybody else who also has a question? Maybe they'd like to oppose to Elijah. I also have a question, just by the way, Elijah. So what kept you going as far as the uncertainties that come with the business world and entrepreneurship? I mean, some months are better than others. So what kept you going during those uncertain times?
So I'm a Christian, so that's been my base stream of energy, if one would say. But beyond that, I think it's also maybe from a Christian perspective as well. I mean, in Genesis, it says that take dominion. And I believe that that's a big thing, that we've been placed here to be able to conquer and to take what's ours or what's there. So that fuel of being ambitious has always kept me, that there's more. I can do more. I should do more. I'm going to do it. Here's an idea. Let's tackle the idea. Let's see what happens. And I think that's what's pushed me, that I can think the way I think. I have the skill sets. I have the drive to execute. If I'm not using it, what am I doing? You know, and that's what's driven me for the most part. Yes, there've been times where I've just been totally out of it and been like, you know what, this business thing ain't gonna happen, bro. Let me just go back and get a job. It's cool. I've got an undergrad now. You know what I mean? But you just push through. The next day you realize, nah, this is what you want. And I think for me as well, growing up, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, not realizing it. When I was filling in the Ellen Gray Scholarship in grade 11, it's a big one. It's like 18 pages. It took me 3 days to fill that thing in. I'm like, nah, it's too much. I'm done. No, bro, you need the scholarship. Fill this thing in. Next day again. And there's questions about your history and your past. And one of the questions is like, ooh, I had a tuck shop in grade 2. I was selling sweets out my kitchen window. I was selling popcorn at church. Oh, all this stuff has a word to it. It's called entrepreneurship. And once I realized that, and because I'm also an avid learner, I went deep in like, what is this entrepreneurship thing? And then back then there was a magazine called Entrepreneur Magazine that came out every month. I religiously bought that month and month and month. I still have like a stack that I keep just for memorabilia. And then so I always knew that this is the journey I was going to go through. So it's just me continuing is following through on who I believe I'm supposed to be, being genuine to who I am, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Siposetu. And thank you so much, Elijah, for such an amazing presentation. I think I myself have really just walked away with a lot of value. And I think when you touched on pitching, I just got the question that just dropped in my mind, where one of the challenges that we have as entrepreneurs is communicating what we do effectively to investors or even potential partners. So what would you say are the top 3 things to just bear in mind or to communicate to an investor or to a potential partner about what you do? So what would you advise that we cover? The 3 basic important things that we really need to communicate well to a person or an individual that could be an investor or a partner.
Yeah, I think before you even get the what you must do, I think the 3 things are practice, practice, practice. People know what the 3 things are, but they're not practicing how to communicate it. And that's the key thing. So what I usually do is I actually record myself with a video camera and I practice my pitch. Watch the video, practice it again, over and over and over. So that's the first thing about communication, is really practicing. Then I think the important things are, what is the problem? Like, what are you trying to solve, and why are you trying to solve it, and why is it worth solving? So what is the financial potential? Those are usually the key big things. If people want to know what problem are you solving. So people always have a product, but if you have a product and no one wants to buy it, it's pointless. So you have to tell the investor, whoever you're telling, that this is why someone would want to buy the product, and that why is the problem. Or these people are suffering from this and this and this. Because of that, our product will help them do that, and this is why they'll buy it. That's it. As succinctly as this: what, why, and then how. How are you going to make that product for them to get into their hands? And yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell.
Okay, thank you very much. I just have one last question before I allow the next to ask. So we as entrepreneurs, right, we are usually filled with this passion, right, and we believe so much in the ideas that we have. But some of the ideas that we have are not really business worthy. So how did you and your team go through the process of testing whether Findamentals was really an idea that is business worthy and worth pursuing? So what is the process that you went through to test if there's an actual market for this idea and it's actually business worthy for you guys to pursue, though it was a passion that you had?
So with us, we were fortunate because we went through the online incubator. So there was a set of modules that you go through. What is the problem you're trying to solve? What's the solution you're thinking about? So we actually had different other solutions, and we still have other solutions to get through. A big thing that a lot of guys always try to speak about is, so to also answer your previous question, is fall in love with the problem. Because if you know the problem well, there are different solutions to solve that thing. So you wouldn't get married to the solution. And this then answers this question, because you may have a solution, but it doesn't make business sense. But if you know what the problem is, another solution may make business sense. It may make money, but it'll still solve the same problem. So fall in love with the problem first, right? And once you do that, you can then iterate various solutions to see which one makes business sense. And how do you go about that? If you're building a software thing, guys always speak about the MVP. What is the basic format of this idea or of this solution without needing to do all the crazy tech stuff? And that's what we started with first. We started with, although our initial customer was a customer that wasn't tech savvy or doesn't have access to tech, if we were still going to build a tech solution, where we started with the workbook would be the easiest way to start, to validate, do people want access to practical sort of financial literacy courses in some format? And we did that. We did a workbook, quick workbook, put all the essentials that we knew from our head, and shipped it out. Took it out and see what people did, got feedback from that, and then started iterating and going. So I think it's really about knuckling down your idea, designing something that solves a problem as on a fundamental basis. Don't go too technical. Don't try and make it too complex. What's the basics that we need to solve that problem? And then go out. The Americans always say, get out the building. Go out there and ask questions. This is it. Hey guys, you have this problem. What would happen? Hey guys, you have this problem. So even with our student product, we shipped out surveys over and over and over and over. A lot of my contact list got bored at one stage, but I was posting it over and over and over until we got that 100, to then get feedback from them, see what are guys saying, and then from that start piecing. Do people actually want this? Is this a problem? I think that's the thing. Is it a problem that people are willing to pay? Try and see how you can answer that question without spending too much money. So you go out. So it may be a survey. It may be selling something smaller, for a smaller format out there at some corner somewhere, or just to a group of people, and just engaging with people. Would people be willing to pay for it? And if so, okay, cool. Then you start working on something small, take that out into the market and see what happens, and then just get feedback. It's an iterative process always. Feedback loop. So be hungry for feedback. Yes, that's how you know if it's worthy of being. If it's a cash cow. Yeah. I hope that answers it.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. So thank you, Elijah. I see, Makazi, where you had your hand up. Would you like to ask a question? If so, over to you.
Hi, thank you, Sposetu. Elijah, hi. I'm not sure whether you were listening or what, but I said my name is Makazo Sako from Port Elizabeth, and I think I'm an entrepreneur. I believe in an entrepreneur. What what I'm doing, actually, my business not yet registered for other reasons, for different type of reasons. I'm trying to run away from tax and everything like that, and having to, deal with the SARS department and everything. That at least that's what I think, and I think it was smart of me. However, now that you're saying a lot of things, I think it wasn't so smart, because I think I'm trying to build an umbrella type of company, or a powerhouse, if I may put it like that. Underneath that, I'm trying to produce clothing line, skincare and hair care products. A wine label, of course, a gin and vodka, because, well, for obvious reasons. I mean, alcohol, come on. And then all the other stuff that I'm trying to do as well. Now, what I'm trying to ask rather is, do you think that me not registering the company was actually wise? Because now I'm finding it hard to keep tabs of my other contacts and everything, and information, keeping my money all together and saving it and everything like that. Do you think that me not registering the company was smart, or maybe I should just get on with it and see what it takes, what it does?
Cool. Thanks, Bakasio. I think Sidwell is in the liquor industry. So if you do start the gin, you have yourself a distributor already here. See, and that's the idea of this whole networking vibe. Yeah. So there's a quote that said, tax and death are the only two certainties. So you'll always pay tax, no matter what you do, how you try to run away from it. And biblically as well, it says, "Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to me what is me, and to the Lord what is His." So I wouldn't advise running away from tax. In terms of the registering of a company, Luntu is here, so he's actually building a legal tech for startups. So you can reach out to him. I think if he's still here, Luntu, please put in your email address there so guys can reach out to you. But essentially, because you're trying to build a global brand, you're trying to build a big brand, I believe that registering would be the ideal thing. But with registering comes a lot more complications as well, because now you have to comply to specific laws of registering your company under that. But it makes it easier, like you said, for managing, because now if you have a registered company, you can then go open a bank account for your company. And that way transactions can happen through your company, and you can make sure you separate yourself from the company. And the nice thing about doing that is that when you register a company, it's called a propriety limited. That means that you are not liable for what happens in the company. You separate your money and the company's money. So if the company owes someone, whoever they owe, that guy has to go deal with the company, not with you. Right now, you're a sole prop. So if anything happens to you, whoever you owe money can come to you and repossess your house to get that, because you are the entity that they dealt with, as opposed to if they dealt with the company. So that's just the top level why registering a company would be advantageous, but it also helps build a brand around it. And if you have a brand and you have a company, it's easier for you now to go and get deals, because a lot of the bigger firms need you to have a business account, business name. They need your registration number for you to be able to grow your company. So ideally, that will be the best, but it's not advisable to do that too quickly. Sometimes entrepreneurs, especially when you're building a team, you guys have an idea together and like, oh, cool, next week let's go register a company. You guys register a company. Then, as I mentioned, the vision is not the same. The work ethic is not the same. Now you have to dissolve this company. You try and take your time in registering the company, but I think that should be the end goal, because it has a lot more benefits than it has a lot more pros than cons if you adhere to the required requirements in legislation. Yeah.
Thank you, Elijah. Thank you so much. And I think that's it for tonight, unfortunately. And sorry, is there a question?
Yeah, I think Luntu just dropped his email address there.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Elijah. And please continue being the phenomenal, great team leader and leader that you are. The world and Africa as a whole need more people like you. And of course, our sponsor, of course, SCORE. Thank you so much, Sidwa and your team. You guys are just amazing. Thank you for the opportunity. Munasha and Yandisa, girls, thank you for your selfless spirit, for putting together this amazing initiative. I think this truly has helped a lot of people, not only myself, but it will definitely grow and help others as well. From my side, Usposetu Boye as your MC, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to play host to you guys this evening. Please do remember that it only takes one person to change the world. So from myself, it's good night and God bless you. Thank you.